Hey everybody, it's Bolshi here with the first of many Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous build videos. If you have a build concept in mind and you're having a hard time figuring out how to make it work in game, leave a comment and I'll see if I can help you out. Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous has insane potential for character customization. There are 20 classes with around 5 archetypes each, over 150 feats, and 9 confirmed mythic paths, and all of these choices will have a dramatic effect on the way your character feels and plays. The sheer magnitude of options is staggering, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. Just considering race, class, and feat choices, your first level can be built over 200,000 different ways. Hopefully, these videos will help you navigate the character progression system and guide you to a build that is both effective and fun to play. With so many choices, there are a lot of combinations of powers and abilities that are either ridiculously overpowered or literally break the game. In most cases, I'll be sticking to a build concept and trying to make an effective build around that concept that doesn't exploit overpowered mechanics. So that said, the concept of this build is kind of like a mad scientist. We're not really a mad scientist. This is more of the product of a mad scientist experimentation, so more like the Frankenstein monster. Actually, that'd be a really cool idea for a duo, the mad scientist and his monster. Now, unlike Frankenstein, we're not going to use our monster as a means to explore philosophical questions regarding science and technology, what it means to be human, and man's desire to play God. Our monster just wants to bite dudes in the face, repeatedly. The focus of this build is going to be maximizing the damage and effectiveness of our natural attacks. Natural attacks are made with weapons that grow off your character's body, so things like claw attacks, bite attacks, or goring attacks with horns. Now, there are a couple of things about natural attacks that are important to know. Number one, unlike melee attacks with melee weapons, all of your natural attacks are made at your full attack bonus unless otherwise stated. With melee weapons, you receive what are called iterative attacks. As your base attack bonus gets high enough, you get extra attacks, but each one of those extra attacks gets a stacking -5 penalty to hit. Primary natural attacks are always made at your highest attack bonus. Another cool thing about natural attacks is that bite attacks from different sources stack, and we will be getting 4 bite attacks in this build. There is a way to get a 5th bite attack from a really powerful dip in a class, but it just didn't fit our build concept. I think I'll release a min-max version of this build that has the 5 bite attacks in a later video. Alright, so let's jump right into the build here. Our first level is going to be Blood Rager, the Primalist archetype. The Primalist archetype is going to allow us to trade out bloodline abilities that we don't want in favor of rage powers from the Barbarian class. And this is really good. This is one of the key elements of our build later on. So let's see, Primalist, our race is going to be Tiefling. We're going to take the Motherless heritage, which gives us an extra bite attack. It also gives us +2 to Strength and Wisdom, which is really good. This is going to be a strength-focused build. Now, I only had 20-point buy-in with this because I'm building this with a mercenary. You should be able to get 19 strength, 12 dexterity, 12 constitution, 11 intelligence. I would go 10 wisdom, and then 14 charisma. And that'll let you cast all your Blood Rager spells and all of your alchemist spells as well. Skills, we're going to go 1 point in mobility, 1 point in knowledge arcana. That's for a prestige class later. And then we're going to max persuasion. We want to get the mobility going because if you have 3 points in mobility, then you get an extra point of AC from fighting defensively. So that's really important to get up there. Our first feat is going to be Weapon Focus Bite. Now, not only is this going to be great for us later getting +1 to attack on all of our bites, we're going to have 4 or 5 bites per round, but it's also a prerequisite for an important feat later. Background doesn't matter. This is mainly RP at this point. Doesn't matter what you choose for that. Bloodline. Abyssal gives us claws when we rage, and that's going to be important in the beginning levels. We're going to get claws from a lot of different places, and some are going to be better than others. But to start with, the Abyssal line gives us claws, and it also gives us some good bonus feats down the line. Whatever alignment you want here, we're not going to be doing any dips that require alignment, so I chose Chaotic Neutral for the monster. Alright, level 2, we are going to take Alchemist, I'm looking in the wrong spot, Alchemist Vivisectionist, and that's going to give us a lot of things. Number one, it's going to give us Mutagen, which is going to, first of all, it really fits our build, right? This is a mutant from a mad scientist lab. Mutagen is awesome. It's also going to give us +4 to strength and +2 natural armor, which is huge. It lasts 10 minutes per level, so even at this 1 level dip, gives us mutagen for basically every rest that we're going to take. We also get sneak attack, and since we're maximizing our number of attacks per round, sneak attack is really an effective way to build here. Again, mobility, arcana, persuasion. Spells, somebody else should be enlarging you, but enlarge person, expeditious retreat. Shield, I would say, is the most important one because most other casters can't cast this on you. So this is nice to get that +4 shield AC. Level 3 is going to be Vivisectionist again. Mobility, Arcana, and Persuasion. We're now done with mobility, so I'm going to start putting extra points in athletics. This is a strength build, so it's nice to have somebody to cover the athletics checks, which he does really well, by the way. Our next feat is going to be Dazzling Display, which is not terribly important, other than it is a prereq for something that we're going to take down the road. And we want to get it out of the way. Now this is important though. Feral Mutagen. This is a key thing of the build. Feral Mutagen, while Mutagen is active, we get claw attacks, made it 1d6 damage, and also a bite attack. And this bite is a primary bite, so we make that at our full attack bonus. Plus we get +2 competence bonus on Intimidate checks. That's a key feature of the build. So all this stuff synergizes really well with the build. It doesn't matter. I say True Strike, maybe. Doesn't really matter. The only thing you're really going to cast is Shield. For level 4, we're going to go back to Primalist. Increase our strength. We're going to put all of our ability scores in strength, by the way. Skills, we're done with mobility. We want Arcana and always max persuasion. This extra point I'll put into athletics here. We get Uncanny Dodge, which is a really good ability. That allows us to enter combat and never be flat-footed. So we're always going to get our dodge bonus to our AC, and we're not going to get sneak attacks in the first round, which is really nice. Next up, level 5, we're going to go 3rd level of Primalist. Athletics, Knowledge Arcana, Persuasion. At level 5, we now have 4 BAB, so we're going to be taking Outflank. Outflank, if you're new to Pathfinder, Outflank is an extremely valuable melee feat. You should take it as soon as possible on all your melee. It really makes the game a lot easier, or it makes your melee characters more effective. It gives you an extra +2 to hit when you're flanking, and if you score a critical hit against a flanked creature, you get an attack of opportunity. So your melee front line really becomes like a blender at this point. All right, next up, level 6. Now we're going to enter into that prestige class, Dragon Disciple. Dragon Disciple is going to give us a ton of stuff that's really good for this build. We're done with Knowledge Arcana. We can now start pushing Athletics, and we always want to max Persuasion. As a Primalist or as a Blood Rager, you don't need to have a Draconic bloodline, so that's good. We can keep our Abyssal bloodline. And we do get a natural armor increase +1 for our first level. Our next level is the good level, though. We're going to go Athletics and Persuasion. This feat, now this is kind of important, you have to do it in this method. You pick whatever you want, actually pick anything, it doesn't matter, we're going to be going back to it. Arcane Spellcasting, our Blood Rager is what we want to select here. Now every level of Dragon Disciple is also going to increase our spellcasting ability for the Blood Rager class. We want to go here to Bloodline Feat Selection and choose Power Attack, and then we go back to our other feat and get Cornagon Smash. Cornagon Smash is, first of all, Power Attack is a prerequisite. That's why we had to click over here first. Every time you attack or damage somebody with Power Attack, we're now making free Intimidate checks. And if you Intimidate, I believe they get the Shaken condition and they get -2 to attack or something like that. This is going to be really important for our build later. It's good right now. It gets amazing later. Blood Rager spells. At this point, if somebody else isn't enlarging you, you could take that. Maybe get another cast of Shield on yourself. Those are 2 great spells you can't go wrong with. It's also nice to have Mage Armor to buff pets or other squishies. And also, this level gives us +2 to Strength and another Bite attack. So right now we are up to 3 bites at 7th level, plus our 2 claws. That's 5 attacks, all at our highest attack bonus. So this build really comes online at about these next few levels. Okay, level 8, we are going to go back into Dragon Disciple, take a point of strength. We're pushing Athletics and Persuasion. Spells, it doesn't really matter. Take Mage Armor. I mean, Magic Weapon doesn't affect natural attacks, so it's not really useful. Maybe you want True Strike. It doesn't really matter. Enlarge Person and Shield, that's what we're doing. We're primarily melee, it doesn't matter the other spells. We do get a Breath Weapon. I never use this thing. This guy's melee attacks are too good to be taking a full round to use a Breath Weapon that does like, 3d6 damage or whatever. Our next level, back into Dragon Disciple, Athletics, Persuasion. Our feat at 7th level is going to be, now this is a big one here, or sorry, 9th level. This is going to be, where is it? Shatter Defenses. Shatter Defenses. We've been building up to this moment. Keep in mind that on level 7 we took Cornagon Smash, so every attack that we hit intimidates. When you intimidate and you hit a shaken opponent, that opponent is going to be flat-footed to your attacks until the end of the next turn. That means that they don't get their dodge AC, number 1, so they're easier to hit. And number 2, you're able to sneak attack them without having to flank them. So now you can just attack things without other people around and get all your sneak attack damage. This is a huge feat right here. Kind of a game changer. Spells don't really matter at this point. Okay, level 10, now that we're done with Dragon Disciple, we also got an extra +2 strength. I don't think I mentioned that there. So going 4 levels in Dragon Disciple gave us 2 AC, 4 strength, a bite, spell progression, the whole thing. It's a really good investment of levels there. We're going to go back into Primalist now though. Athletics and Persuasion, now we can get our Athletics caught up. We're going to change our Bloodline power. The Bloodline powers for Abyssal are kind of weak, so pretty much every time we get a Bloodline power, we're going to choose Rage powers instead. This one's important. Number 1, we're getting Animal Fury. That gives us an extra bite attack. Even though this one's a secondary attack at a -5 penalty, it's still good. And our other Beast Totem, you're going to choose a Stance. Now, let me tell you, don't do the trap. You look at this right here and it looks amazing. While raging, the Barbarian grows a pair of large horns, gaining a gore attack. Well, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. We want a mutant that does natural attacks. But if you take this, you can't take Beast Totem later, and that's even better. Okay, so don't take Fiend Totem. It's also bugged right now. It doesn't even work. But you're going to take one of these stances. If you don't have a Bard, the clear choice is Lethal Stance. If you want defense, Guarded Stance is good, gives you extra AC. Reckless Stance gives you plus to hit, but a minus penalty to AC, which stacks with every level, or sorry, with every 4 levels that the penalties and the bonuses increase. I don't like that one. I would either go powerful or guarded, but we'll go powerful for this build. It's a matter of preference at this point. Level 2 spells, now we get Mirror Image, which is great. You're much less squishy with this, unless your opponent has True Seeing and False Life. Those are 2 great spells to improve your survivability. We're going to keep going Primalist, Athletics, and Persuasion. Let's see, level 11, I'm going to take Improved Critical Bite. We are now at 4 bites with the Animal Fury totem, or sorry, the Animal Fury Rage power. So we're now at 4 bites, making Improved Critical for bite a really good investment. These spells don't really matter. You're definitely going to be using False Life and Mirror Image the most, so you can choose whatever you want at this point. Keep going Primalist. We're going to take Primalist all the way up to level 10 at this point. Always take your ability scores into strength. Athletics, Persuasion. Now this is great. I would have taken this earlier if it weren't for the fact that it's a bonus feat from the Bloodline. We want Intimidating Prowess. Intimidating Prowess is going to add your strength modifier in addition to your charisma modifier to intimidate checks. And basically, once you pick this feat up with the massive amount of strength that this character has, you never miss intimidate checks anymore. Usually your bonus to the check is higher than the difficulty check, the DC that you have to make. So, if you have to roll a 16, you're usually getting like a plus 18 or something. You always make your intimidate checks. So basically everything you attack is going to be shaken and flat-footed. Spells don't really matter. You're not going to be casting anything but these. Scorching Ray, whatever. Keep going Primalist. And now you have an extra point, do whatever you want with it. At level 13, we are going to take Accomplished Sneak Attack. Now, this is going to give us an extra die of sneak attack damage, which we're going to be getting just normally by attacking with Shatter Defenses. And since we have, I think at this point we have 7 or 8 attacks per round, getting extra sneak attack dice on every attack is really great for pumping up your damage. I like Animal Aspect for either fort saves or for movement speed bonus. Other casters in your party, depending on your party composition, should be casting haste and heroism and things like that. So I try and focus on the self buffs with this class. But you might as well take another haste. Haste never hurts. Next level is going to be Primalist number 8. And we're going to change our bloodline out. Now this one's important. We're going to get Lesser Beast Totem and Beast Totem. Now Lesser Beast Totem gives us, I believe it's claws. Where is it? Yeah, it gives you some claws. We already had claws, but these claws are going to get better as we level up here. And regular Beast Totem gives us natural armor, which I believe stacks with all our other natural armor bonuses. So this is a great defensive investment here. Spells, doesn't really matter here. I guess we can go Stinking Cloud is a good one to have. Primalist again. We're going to take this all the way up to level 10. Let's see here. We are level 15. Oh, okay. This is another one where we're going to go back and forth. Choose whatever here. Get to your bonus feat. This is a personal preference. At this point, the build is pretty much like all the feats are done. But I like the idea of going Cleave, going back here and getting Cleaving Finish. Now you will never use Cleave. Cleave takes all of your attacks away and does one single attack. We don't want that. It's only a prerequisite for Cleaving Finish. Cleaving Finish, basically you get an attack of opportunity whenever you kill somebody. And this guy does a ton of damage. He kills a lot of enemies, so he's going to be getting a lot of use out of this Cleaving Finish ability. Spells, level 3 spells, I think we're all set, but you can choose whatever you want here. Maybe Protection from Energy would be good. See Invisibility. Again, these spells really don't matter. There are certain spells that, for a melee character that's buffing himself, you're going to be using all the time. Once you pick those up, the other stuff doesn't really matter. Primalist level 10, more strength. Always want to max athletics and persuasion, whatever else doesn't really matter. Now here I get false life. It's going to give us temporary hit points, 2d10 plus caster level. It's a nice little defensive buff. Anything else, I mean, I guess Stone Skin is a good buff. There's probably somebody else in your party casting it. If not, then I would pick up Stone Skin for sure. Okay, let's see here. Next up, we are going back into Vivisectionist. This is level 17. We're taking our third level of Vivisectionist, which is going to give us another sneak attack die. At level 17, we are taking, this one's a big one, extra rage power, greater beast totem. Now we've kind of been building up to this point. Now, when you're raging, you get the pounce ability. The pounce ability allows you to do a full attack at the end of a charge. So basically this guy can be sprinting around the battlefield, pouncing on people, getting 8 attacks, charging, getting 8 attacks, charge on somebody else, get 8 attacks. It also increases the damage of our claws to 1d8 and the crit multiplier to ×3, which is huge. So this is a no-brainer here. Spells, these are alchemist spells. We're not really going to use any of these. Level 18 is going to be, basically we're going to finish out by taking Vivisectionist every level. Let's see, this is Combat Trick. We're going to take, there's a couple of choices that are pretty strong here. Now we're getting a lot of claw attacks with a ×3 multiplier, so Improved Critical Claw is a decent choice. The other one would be Hammer the Gap. Hammer the Gap gives you a stacking bonus to damage based on the number of times you hit an enemy in a round. So since we have 7 or 8 attacks per round, I mean, if you hit, theoretically, the same enemy 8 times in a row, that's going to be, 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 + 5 + 7 damage. That's 28 damage total. Really good investment when you have a lot of attacks per round. So one of these two. Maybe Hammer the Gap this time. Oh, you know what? A good choice here, which we couldn't get from our Blood Rager casting, was Lesser Restoration. This removes fatigue, and whenever you rage and you stop, you get fatigue, and this is going to allow you to rage more often. So I would take Lesser Restoration. But you will need a intelligence buff to be able to cast it. You need at least a 12 intelligence. But at this point in the game, you probably can find those items. Level 19, Vivisectionist once again, getting more sneak attack die, extra duration to our mutagen, all good things. And here, just choose whatever you didn't choose. So if you took Hammer the Gap, now choose Improved Critical Claw. Spells don't really matter too much. I'm not seeing anything in the Alchemist spell list that I really need to have. Okay, and our last level is going to be Vivisectionist. This is kind of like the reason why I chose to go 6 in Vivisectionist is because we get a discovery. We get Feral Wings. And this kind of just goes with the whole idea of the build. This is a mutant experimental monster. He grows some wings. And it also gives us 3 dodge to AC. Now this is not a min-max build. I really wanted him to have wings. So, is what it is. Protection from arrows we don't get anywhere else. Alright, so let's take a look at our Mythic path here. Now our first ascension, that's our first level in our Mythic path, is an easy choice. We want Close to the Abyss. It's going to give us an extra gore attack. It's made with a -5 penalty, but we do get 1.5 times our strength to the damage. This is going to be a lot of extra damage that's going to add to our build. And our first ability here, there's 2 that are really good at this level. Limitless Rage will let us rage for an unlimited number of times per day. And the other one is Brutality Incarnate, which now our natural attacks are not affected by damage reduction. I think the best choice here is Brutality Incarnate. Now, demons have damage reduction. There's a lot of demons that have damage reduction, and spoiler alert, you're going to be fighting a ton of demons. So you're always going to be going up against damage reduction. And the way damage reduction works is it's applied to all the different sources of damage from one attack. So for example, with us, we do our natural attacks, we get our base damage, we get sneak attack damage, and later we're going to be taking Mythic Charge. So those 3 damage sources are all separate, and damage reduction is applied to them separately. So for every attack, if we have 3 different sources, if the demon has damage reduction 10, it's going to take 10 damage off of each one of those sources. So 30 damage that will be reduced on one attack. With Brutality Incarnate, that doesn't happen. So this is a massive increase of damage because our damage comes from different sources and because we're going to be facing damage reduction a lot. Alright, our second Mythic level, I think here the best thing to do would be to go to Extra Mythic Ability and grab that Limitless Rage. Potentially Power Attack might do more damage, but I like to not worry about how much Rage I'm getting per day. So this will let me use Rage. It's just kind of a quality of life thing. Alright, our third Mythic level, we're actually going to be choosing which path we follow here. Now you can see I lost the Aeon path, the Eon, however you say that, because I was being too chaotic in my playthrough, but it doesn't matter anyway. Each one of these paths, the Mythic paths are very flexible. You could make this work with any one of these paths. They're very powerful. They offer powerful abilities. But I think the clear winner in terms of class synergy and synergy with the build that we're going for thematically would be the Demon class. That's going to give us Rage, Demonic Rage, that we can activate. And we get different demonic aspects that are going to activate during our Demonic Rage. Now currently I was hoping that there would be some synergy between Demonic Rage and classes that have the Rage ability like Barbarians or Blood Ragers, but right now if you want to activate these demonic aspects, you have to click on Demonic Rage. You can't Blood Rage and get these aspects. I hope they fix that because if you know the other Mythic paths, there's some very strong synergy between Mythic paths and specific classes, so hopefully that's an oversight. That would be really cool. Also, what is cool though is that your Demonic Rage does activate your other rage powers, so that's a plus. Okay, for our third Mythic level ability, I believe we're going to go with Abundant Casting. Now we haven't picked up the Pounce ability at this point. I think you get level 3, Mythic level 3 at about character level 9, so we don't have the Pounce. We're not going to be charging that much. Abundant casting, we're getting spells from our Blood Rager casting, we're getting alchemist spells, and now we're getting spells in our demon handbook. So this abundant casting is going to add 4 spells per day to each one of those spell books. It triple dips here. It's a very good investment. All right, our Mythic level 4. We're going to take the Mythic ability. Let's see, we did not take Power Attack. Power Attack increases the bonus damage from Power Attack from 2 to 3. But if you're using a two-handed weapon, or like us, we're using primary natural weapons that add 1.5 times our strength modifier, we're actually going to get a +5 to damage for every, I believe it's 4 BAB that we have. So basically we're adding +20 to our damage with this ability. Very strong. Our demonic aspect, there are a few that synergize really well with what we're trying to do, namely the Babao, the Incubus, and the Shear. These are all demonic aspects that are going to add melee damage. I think the Shear is going to be the best one for us. It gives +2 to hit, very strong to begin with, but also it gives us the powerful charge ability, which is going to increase the number of weapon damage dice by 2 for each attack, and we get an additional 1.5 times our strength bonus, and this is a very strength heavy build. I don't really think you can get much more strength than we have in this build. So we get an additional 1.5 times our strength bonus. That's on top of everything we get from Power Attack, normal strength modifiers. Now the cool thing here, and I've tested this, is that when you have the Pounce ability, so far charge abilities that modify your charge attacks apply to every one of those Pounce attacks. So we're going to charge, we're going to get 8 attacks, and each one of these 8 attacks is going to get 2 extra weapon dice and 1.5 times our strength bonus. Very, very powerful once it comes online. Okay, level 5 in our Mythic path. We're going to take, let's see, level 5 is going to be Mythic Charge. We're still a few levels away from getting Pounce, but the fact that we picked up that the demonic aspect for the Shear, I think we're going to be charging a lot now. So we might as well add our damage. And again, just like I said before, once we do get Pounce, this additional divine damage gets applied to every single attack that we make during our Pounce. So that's going to be 7 or 8 different attacks, all of them getting, at this point, 5d6 extra damage. And this can crit. And this only improves as we level up our Mythic path. Strong choice overall. Here I would choose between the Babao or the Incubus. The Babao gives us sneak attack, and also when we're attacked with melee, we do like reflective acid damage. The Incubus just gives a flat +4 to weapon damage rolls. I think I would go with the Babao here and take Incubus next level. Alright, this is our level 6 Mythic path level, and we are going to take, I think at this point you can choose whatever you want. There's a lot of really strong choices. You could go with Emergency Potion. Swift Action Potion is really strong, especially if you're brewing your own potions with the high level, level 6 potions. Improved Critical if you want to go full offense with the Bite or the Claw. You could also get extra Mythic ability and choose something like Leading Strike. Leading Strike would be very strong for this build. At this point, you probably don't need more damage, to be honest, so maybe you choose something for survivability. I would go with Emergency Potion. Our next aspect is going to be the Incubus. Well, there's one that I've been skipping over because it's kind of bugged right now. It'll make your game glitch out, but the aspect of the Calavacus is really good. It gives you a free disarm attempt when you charge. So you're going to be, charging, getting 8 attacks with 8 attempts to disarm. And if you do disarm, I think you get an extra attack as a free action. So the number, it's kind of bugged out. I think you get 8 disarms and 8 free attacks. I don't like playing with things like that. So until this is fixed, I'll steer clear of that. Incubus for right now. And, that's about as far as I've gone in the game. The build is completely fleshed out at this point. Any other choices you make aren't going to affect the core gameplay. Alright, so we're going to see this build in action. Now, I did make a mistake on the build, so I had to use a respec, and it actually kicked him from the party, so things are a little bugged out. He got kicked from the party, and he has none of his own buffs. My spellbook completely got depleted, and I can't rest to renew it. So all you're going to see right now is some auto attacks, but are still really strong. So here we go. We are going to charge into combat here, pop our rage there, and you can see, let's see, what just happened to that guy? That guy got destroyed. 243 damage on a crit. That's a ×3 multiplier on our claw there. Just annihilated that guy. Got a cleaving finish off on this guy. Let's see. Let's look at our intimidates. We have plus 49 to intimidate. Pretty strong. Here we go. Let's get some more attacks. Now, keep in mind, this is a level 20 build in a level 10 zone, so I'm completely over leveled, but all the enemy sliders are turned up to their absolute maximum. So he should still be doing some, I mean, it should still be somewhat of a challenge. There's all those attacks per round. Let's get a charge off on this guy. Get a pounce. The charging is really where the damage comes in. Like you can see, even at a level 10, this guy's hitting me pretty constantly. Let's see what happened there. We got, oh, whatever. Damage happened. And there we go. All right, that's the build. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. In the future, I'm really going to try and prune these videos down so that it's not going to be 30 minutes for every build that I come up with. If you liked this video or you learned something, hit that subscribe button. And if you have a build concept that you want me to try and make work in the game, leave a comment and I'll do my best. All right, thanks. Bye.